Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Oh, rockstar. Now that I've got your light pink glasses, one of my favorite
Look at
colors.
us, matchy matchy today.
Rocking it, rocking it. You are. Well, prior to us hitting record, I told Chris if she ever wears black glasses with me again, it just throws me right off. I need to
Yeah,
see that beautiful color around your beautiful, vibrant eyes and your woo woo.
thank you.
So,
I've
okay.
got it. I've got it.
You're like, I got it
I
going
got the
on.
vibe. I got the vibe today.
There you go. Well, talking about people commenting on certain things, now we're going to
Mm,
get into a juicy conversation. So it was so funny. For those who don't know, Chris and I love to gab. And we started talking at the end about body image.
yeah.
And so I know we're going to do something live. You and I chatted about it, hopefully at the end of May, regarding this. But we are going to talk about body image, people comments,
Yeah.
all that fun stuff. What do you think about this topic? I know you've been pretty excited
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, I am. I am. Do you know what I think is that's astounding to me is that it's the perspective can change so quickly about
Mm,
yourself with comments, with looks, with being hard on ourselves, and it's so funny. So like my body image, for example, has changed a million times over. Obviously, all of us, right? A million times over. And have you ever seen those like memes or quotes or that say like, I wish I was as fat as I was, or I wish I was as skinny as I was when I thought I was fat. Like, you look
yes.
back, if I go back to, let's say, I'm going to go way back and go like high school days. And
Yeah. When you
back
thought you
then,
were
I
fat.
felt awful about myself. I was like,
Mm,
I'm not acceptable. I'm not fat. I'm not like all the other girls. I'm not, and I felt awful about myself. But now
yeah.
I see pictures of myself from back then. I'm like, gotta do anything to be that size again, to look like that again, to like, and it's so
Yep.
funny, but I wasn't happy with what I looked like then.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Exactly what you said. We thought a certain way of ourselves. And I
Yeah,
think the key to all of this is you have to be happy within
yeah,
yourself. And if
yeah,
not, if nothing health wise is holding you back, you get the opportunity to change it if that's how you feel, not what
yeah,
people say
yeah,
outside.
yeah,
But it also, to me, speaks in volume. And I love what you bring up for me. It sort of goes back to living in the moment and being
mm,
happy or
yeah.
being content. You don't have to be like, woohoo, whatever, but it's like, okay, this is me today. I can be better. I can be different. I can be whatever, you want your body to look like.
Yeah.
But I go back to saying we always want what we had or don't have or whatever. Why do you think people are like that? I mean, that's $1 million question,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
why do you think we can't just be happy in the moment?
yeah. I mean, that's another one of those questions that if we could answer it, we'd be millionaires, right? But
We're
here's
going
my
to die trying though. We're
right.
going to
I
die.
know, I know. But here's my thought process around that. I think that why can't we be happy with what we have? I don't. I think it has a lot to do, and I mean, this is your expertise, is confidence. It's about the confidence. Like, if you have rock star confidence, then those comments, someone says something, you're like, meh, not right. You're not right.
Yeah.
But if your confidence is shaken already, right, then you're like, oh, maybe they are right. Oh, maybe I am that way. Because you're looking for someone to support that. Are they right? Is that really what people see? So I think the stronger you're confident in yourself, your abilities, your how you feel in your body, in your skin, I think that the outside, the external doesn't matter as much, right? Because you're like, no, I worked hard for this. And I'll give you a perfect example. So I myself went through a huge change a couple years back and lost like 80 pounds. And I felt like $1 million when I did that. I really did. And then at the time, comments would be made you know how people are. Oh, oh, you're a big woman. I hate that word. You're a big woman. I hate that. Who
I
says
get,
that?
oh, you're a big boned woman.
Oh, big boned. Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah,
love that.
you're big bone. Oh, it's, the European. I'm like, why are you saying that? Like, I
Well,
just
and
don't even
what does it matter? What does it matter? What does it matter? So, but I'll tell
I know.
you, when I would get those comments previous to losing the weight I had lost, I would really take them to heart and I would let them ruin my day. I really would. And then after losing the weight, all I could think to myself was, "Oh no, you have no idea. I'm amazing. Like I've worked hard to get where I am. I am proud of where I am. And so you don't like it? That's okay. That's okay. Because I'm happy with where I've gotten. But in the same sense, and this is what I'm saying about changing so quickly, is that, then it was tough through COVID, through all this stuff. And I put back on 30 pounds. Now, not 80, but 30 of the 80, and immediately went right back to feeling that non-confidence. But I had still
Mm.
lost 50, so why did I get to lose all that confidence? You know what I mean? Like, we're so hard on ourselves.
So hard. And I think there's definitely that connection of confidence
Mm.
and how you feel in your external
Yeah.
body per se, and when you're looking at yourself. But I'm so happy with a few things. Body image regarding advertising and everything like that has really shifted in
Mm.
the
Yes.
last several decades. I'll give
Yes.
you just a quick story about myself, talk about, messed up, to do with body image. So, and I should show you a picture. It's ridiculous. I think I was maybe 110 pounds and I had the same bones I have today, but I did some modeling. Okay, don't laugh. Yes, I did. I just, you know what?
Good
I
for you.
loved it.
Yeah.
It was a side gig, whatever. I had people take it like already imagine like being under 20. They're taking pictures of you going, you're fat. You're considered a fat model to my face. And I'm like, then I think I would like blush. And then like, now your face is red, like go sit down. And I'll never forget my last modeling gig. This is so hilarious. Now I find it hilarious, but talk about
Mm.
your confidence being rocked. We were at the Toronto Zoo and there was, I don't know if they were monkeys or gorillas behind me, and they went, the gorillas look better than you do. And I was like, I was so small, and they're like, just leave, just leave. And I was like, oh my, and then that's sort of where
Mm.
for me, and I was really young. I didn't know enough about like or have enough life experiences to know that the external noises really didn't make
Mm.
a difference in who you are.
Yeah.
But it really rocked my world, like you said, and people commenting on that for years that stuck with me. And I don't know why. I guess it was something that, somebody says and now it's like people comment and I'm like, why? Really? Why?
I
You
just
know,
don't understand the thought process in anyone's head of saying anything negative to someone else if it's not constructive. Like, there's one thing to say, hey, I saw that keynote that you did, and just a friendly suggestion from someone who's done it before, maybe try this. That's constructive criticism. I can handle that. Like, let's talk, let's lift each other up, let's do better together. But to say to someone like, oh, you're unattractive, you're the wrong size, you're the whatever the comment is, why? What is the
you know,
point? Do you think if you say to me, first of all, do you think if you say to me, like you're overweight or you're fat or you're large or you're whatever, however you word it, first of all, do you think that I didn't know? Like, do you think I look in the mirror every morning and I don't know what size I am, what I look like? And my second question is that was your point to ruin my day? Because what else is the purpose? What
like,
else
yeah,
is
is
the
it going to
purpose?
motivate you to do something different?
Exactly.
Exactly. And, I don't understand. And, my mother always taught me this, and forever it stuck with me. If you don't have anything nice to
Mm-hmm.
say, don't say it. It's that simple. Be a kind human, right?
Yeah.
But people will comment. And I got to be honest with you, sometimes I don't think they're as mean and directed as the one in the zoo about the gorilla,
Yeah,
the
that's
gorilla comment. I think sometimes people like legitimately don't understand that that's not okay. Maybe they don't have boundaries for themselves or towards other people. And, having had four babies,
mm,
I would get comments all the time. I would be going through a grocery store, and one of the ladies was like, do you really think you need that? Because like really, like you're much bigger than you were the last pregnancy. I don't think you need this. And
mm.
she's like legitimately taking it back. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, put my stuff back. Yes, I need that. And none of your business. And it was funny because for years, it's just funny. For years, I didn't go, and everybody's very nice there. I didn't go and check out with her.
Mm.
Not because I was angry. It was just sort of like, and then she would come up to me, you're mad at me. You're angry, aren't you? I'm like, no, absolutely not. Not a little bit. Nothing.
And I don't think it's about anger so much as it's
Mm,
about not wanting the
appropriate.
confrontation, feeling slightly embarrassed by having to think about what do I say? How do I respond? Like and that's another thing I don't understand. What's the expectation for the response? Like what do you
Ooh.
want me to say? Like, oh thank God you told me? Thank God you were here to tell me that I'm not pretty enough for you. What? What?
Yeah. Ex- yeah.
What do you want me to
I'm
say?
just laughing because when you actually think about it, and you're right, it's great that we can laugh about it, but I know and and somebody, as I said, that's had four kids that whose
Mm,
weight's been like this, it's not easy. And you know what? I think because I was brought up in that, sort of era where thin is in. And if
mm,
you're not thin, you're not enough and you're not good enough. It took me a long time for me. I again at that kind of stage, just this is for me,
yeah.
I was able to tune out most people. But yes, if I was having a bad day and you commented on my double chin, or you commented that, oh, you look healthy and, you're really strong and you're big, the comments I've gotten, I'm like, what the flip? Like you said, how does one react to that?
Yeah.
And I'll even take it one step further. My first son was very, very big. He was a big baby. He was a little chunky monkey, the cutest
Mm,
thing. One lady was like, "Oh my God, that's not a baby, that's a turkey." And I was like, "Excuse me, come again." I'm like, "You can come for me, but you will not come for my children. Thank you very much." Right? And I was like, I'm like, "Why would you say such a thing?" Like, I actually called her, "Oh, joke, joke, joke." That's not funny. It doesn't
no.
even have anything to do with humor, right? So I don't know. And, my sort of thing is, I can go on and on about this. My
Mm,
sort of thing is, who cares? I mean, I love, just for example, your glasses make me happy when I see them. You as a person, if you have that energy, that aura, it makes you happy. And I personally think you're gorgeous and I think you're
thank
beautiful
you.
because I see, you're like, why, thank you. And
Yeah.
truth. So truth. But it's like, why can't people see beyond the exterior?
Yeah.
And why
I
do
like
people
I like
only
to
see
think
the
first of all, I
exterior?
like to think that those individuals that don't look beyond the exterior, those individuals that feel the need to make those negative comments or critical comments,
Mm,
I like to think that that's about them. That's not a me problem. That's a
yes.
them problem. That is not
Yes.
have anything to do with who I am or how I should feel about myself. That almost makes me feel a little bit sad for them. Like, oh, who
You're like
hurt you?
almost a little
What
sympathetic.
almost like right? I'm human, so I'm not gonna lie that when they say stuff, it hurts. It's like, oh, ouch, like, ouch. But it does make me take a step back and think like, oh, your confidence must suck, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you could
Yeah.
say that to someone else, that's what it tells me is that your confidence must suck.
And taking it one step further, if they say that to somebody else, imagine what they say to themselves when they look in the mirror.
Good point. Great point. Great point.
Well, it's sort of to your point, it's like you wonder, you have to have empathy for people that do come at you in that way. I think that we live in a day and age where everybody's pretty educated in
Yeah.
the essence of let's not comment on people's looks, let's not comment on people's weight, let's not comment on size, bone size, structure. Oh, you're European, so you're strong. And why? Like it just, it's completely irrelevant in my humble opinion. But people are going to be who they are. We
Yeah.
can only bring sort of this kind of conversation to people. And you really don't know too how people are feeling inside. Like you don't know
Yeah. Yeah.
what is going on for them. Let's talk about our youth. Let's talk about the
Mm.
C word for a second. Our youth is who was so incredibly, incredibly affected in a negative way through mental health
Yeah.
and through growth and through everything. And so they already had, in my humble opinion, and I guess I'm talking about my children in particular,
Fair.
as well as their friends and family. They already have sort of an unhealthy relationship. Most of them, I don't want to get like, oh, not me, but
Yeah.
unhealthy relationship with food. There's a lot of takeout. There's a lot of whatever.
Mm.
I mean, what was the spike in flour and baking during the C word?
Yeah.
Uphill, right? Like, what
Yeah.
are you to do? We baked cookies, we cooked this, we did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We came together and we ate together and we did whatever. So, we were in a situation that nobody had ever been in. So,
Yeah.
but even, I don't know, like, don't you think it's sort of, and people comment and people body shame,
Mm.
especially their children, which makes me, I think you
Yeah.
had a story, didn't you?
I do, and it's funny. So when I first got together with my husband 15 years ago, I had two little ones, and he would always tease me because I am aggressive with my self-esteem building and confidence comments for my kids. I am constantly like, you're so handsome, you're so smart, you're so strong, you're just the coolest kid. And to this day, like I have four children, and my boys are my three oldest are boys, and they're 19, 18, and almost 16, and I still on a daily basis tell them, you are
Same.
so handsome, you are so strong, you are so smart. And now they just kind of, thanks mom, like they just but
But
my
it's the messaging they're getting.
yeah and my
Even if it pisses them off,
yeah
they're getting the messaging. They'll come around in their, I don't know, mid to late 20s,
yeah
but
but my
it's
husband
the
my husband would
messaging.
always say, like, you're ruining them, like teasingly he would say, you're ruining
Oh,
them,
yeah.
like, you're just building them up and building them up, and their heads are gonna swell, and I was like, good, because you know what's not gonna boast them all the time? The world. Like, they're gonna go out into the world,
Yes.
and
And they're
things
mean.
and people and situations are gonna chip away at that self-esteem and chip away at that self-esteem. And so my job is to make it so strong and so big that even when it chips away, they still have a reasonable amount of self-esteem left. So
Yes, and confidence. And the
yeah.
thing is too, and I love that. I think it's important. And it's funny, I'll tell you, I won't say which kid because they'll kill me, but one of my kids, skinny like this, like I'm like, you need a hamburger. Maybe you need six of
Yeah.
them because like you see your ribs, you see his spine, you see what skinny, tiny little whatever, right? Muscular, but runner body, right? So, anyways, and he came home one day and he was upset. Second day, didn't say anything. Finally, he tells me that kids are calling him fat. And I'm
Oh.
like, I thought, and I hate to say this, but I really did think the body imaging or shaming was really geared towards girls.
Mm,
And I know there's a lot there, but it's also for boys. And I'm like, this, and I'm pulling on his stomach, is skin.
mm,
This little pouch here, that is your stomach. Because you're so skinny, it's a little bit protruded because you got no fat on you. So
yeah.
don't like, and he's like, oh, it's only you that thinks that, and da da da. So you know what? They're sort of, I love the fact that you say, I build them up. So when they get out into the real
Yeah.
world, you hope they have enough confidence and they really look, and you and I both know this having kids that age, they look to their peers for the exception
Yeah.
and the acceptance of body and the coolness and whatever their persona that they
Yeah.
put out there with their peers. So I think it's so hard for them. I really do. And now with
Yeah.
social media, it's
Mm.
even worse
Yeah.
because with you and I, didn't we just like sort of have words in school or in the school playground and that
Yeah.
was it, right? We didn't have it posted all over social.
Well, that's it. That's it. Is that where did the comments come from? They came from, those people that you went to school with. So even if you went to a big school, what's that? 2,000 kids that you get to listen to in a day or whatever it is. And now millions of people online feel the need to share their opinion as keyboard warriors with no consequences and just,
Love
say
that.
whatever they think because they think that it matters, their opinion on other people. So I think it's a lot harder. I really do. The other misconception, I love that you point out that like a lot of people think that it's mostly towards girls as opposed to boys, and it's not. It's both. But the other misconception that I have to point out is that I always thought, growing up, someone who was overweight, always struggled with my weight. I always thought that being teased for being overweight or fat or any of that was the only side of it. Until as an adult, I met a good friend who is very slim, and is a man, and got comments all the time to like, oh my God, you're so slim, you're so tiny, and one time shared with me that like, why is that acceptable? Like, if I ever said to you, oh my God, you're so fat, like I would be canceled. Like I would never be allowed to say that to you. But why is it okay for people to say to me, oh my God, you're so tiny? He said, because I don't like that. I don't like that I'm very thin. I don't like that I can't put on weight. I don't like that I'm not big and muscular and husky like
Yeah.
men are, like a lot of other men are. Like I don't like my body image. But why is it okay to come back from the other
Mhm.
side? And I thought, you know what, I'm really glad you said something. I wasn't one that would say to him, you're thin, but I never would have thought it was an issue. Never would have
Yes.
occurred to me that that could be taken poorly as opposed to a compliment.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm so glad you brought that up. I think that's so important because, like you said, the way that people see themselves, whether they're confident, whether they're conscious of it, whether they struggle, like, there's things like body dysmorphia. There's a
Yes.
lot of things, around food addiction,
Yes.
things that people don't know what that other person is going through.
Correct.
So how dare you comment? Like, it's sort of like, hey, I noticed you only bought $20 worth of groceries. Do you only have like $20 in your bank account? Like, let's talk about how much money you have. People would never say that.
No.
This is that same personal
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Don't like just, you cannot, if you don't ask and people, if I say to you, oh, how does this look? And, whatever, it was kind of funny because people would always say, oh, let's go ask Adrienne. She can't lie to us. Because I'll be honest. And they're like, okay, do you like this? And I'm like, I like it. Do you like it? That's my
Yeah.
question. I put
How do
it
you
back to them.
feel? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, and they're, well, I kind of feel like this looks big or this, and I'm like, okay, do you want to know what I would maybe try? And they're
Yes.
like, yeah, okay, tell me. Okay, why don't you put on high-waisted, crop, whatever, it
Yeah.
gives you a different silhouette. That is something that is asked for. It's not
Not
like,
only
oh,
asked for, but it's constructive because you're not just saying, nope, that looks bad. You're saying, hey,
yeah,
why don't we try this? Have you thought about this? That I can work with constructive. I mean, I am no stylist. Actually, can I share a quick
yes,
story
you
about
are.
that?
No,
No,
because
no.
I'm going to
You
object.
you have
I'm
to
going to
you have
object.
to hear this story. It's so funny. It's
Yes,
so
tell
funny.
the story, but
So
I'm starting off with you got more style, girl, than most people I know. So,
I
okay,
say
now you
all
can
the
tell your.
time. I say all the time. So I have vibe, but I don't know that I have on trend style. So I have this phenomenal small business owner that I work with all the time. She is absolutely incredible, and she owns Dottie Clothing out of Toronto. Okay, and
Okay.
so I had the opportunity to meet her once. I was just blown away by her clothes, her style. I love it all. And so she said, "Well, I would love to like send you some pieces so you can try. And I was like, oh, I would love that. I would love to try some pieces on. And because I'd love to purchase one of your suits or outfits or something, like, but I don't know what size. I don't know any of that. And she was wonderful to work with. And so she sent me this one blouse, and she was like, this is one of our most popular. Everybody loves it. So she said, do me a favor. When you get it, try them on and take some pictures and send it to me. And then I can see for size wise. So I can see like, yep, this is the right one. We could do something different here. And so I put on this beautiful, like, black blouse, and it just was so comfortable, and it was great. And it had these long ties in the front with like a V-neck underneath. And so I tied it up in a bow, and I sent her a picture. And she laughed so hard. She goes, oh my God, you're adorable. She said, but undo those ties immediately. Like you are a nerd, and they're not a bow tie. Like, stop it. And
so was it supposed to go around your waist?
no, it was just supposed to kind of like hang down. It was part of the style. Okay. And so I laughed so hard at myself. And see, that was not a criticism on me. It was more a, let me show you how to do it better. And I love that. And I did. I did it, and I took another picture, and she said, and pair it with jeans and whatever. And as soon as I did all the things she suggested, I felt like $1,000,000. But when I first put it on, I was like, well, this is not really me. I don't really know. But as soon as she made a few expert, comments saying, here's what I would do, all of a sudden it was incredible. And I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And so those are the kind of comments that are impactful. Those are the kind of comments that make someone just up their game. And it wasn't, oh, you don't look good. It was, let me help you look better.
And you know what? I think saying it like that, and we'll also make sure you tell me what her information is.
Yes.
And we'll include it below.
Yes.
But and I've got to go see her. I'm always open to things like that too. Yeah. And I think that, like you said, finding your own vibe, your own style. You talk about being on trend. I don't like to necessarily be on trend. My trend is my own style, and I think you're the same.
Yeah, same.
And it's like, we talked about this, and I think I had mentioned to you, this is going to be one of the blogs that I'm going to put out on LinkedIn. But, I'm not for everybody, and I understand that.
Me too.
Right? And you're not for everybody, and good. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. I think everybody just has to be good with that and I think when we're in our school and when we're young, we think we want to be liked and loved by everyone. And, but since we don't live in Disney World, right?
Yeah.
And we live in reality, you're not going to be loved and liked by everyone. And I think teaching that at a very young age is so incredibly important. And I know you and I chatted about this, I think it was last podcast, and, some things about, with your daughter and things even with my sons growing up and being in that cliquey group. But I think teaching our children, I don't think confidence needs to start at 35 or 55.
No.
I think building confidence starts at a very, very young age. And I think, like you said, it's having those conversations and having the tough conversations like these ones, like, hey, not everybody's going to like you. And, your kids will look with those big eyes, but why not? I'm so
amazing. Yeah.
I'm so, right? And you're like, yes, you are, but not everybody will think that way. And it's not like, we need to burst their bubble at 4 and say, well, you're not going to be liked by everybody. But I think it goes back to the piece, which when I release my confidence book, I am releasing one for the little ones. I think confidence starts super young.
Yes.
What do you think?
Absolutely. I think it starts really young. And I say all the time that I wish I had, 1/10 of the confidence that my 4-year-old has. I mean, the way she walks out of her room in the morning and has put together this fabulous outfit that's just head to toe chaos. And just says, like, look at me. I look amazing. Like, I wish that's how I felt. Every day I wish that's how I felt. The way she loves to sing and dance, and she will just start singing and dancing, and her brothers will just giggle away, and they're like, I wish I felt like she feels right now. Like, she just feels incredible about who she is, and she knows who she is, and she's fine with it. And I wish that's the confidence that I strive for on a daily basis, is to just
Oh, I
feel
got
that like
goosebumps.
I'm amazing and I'm worth it. And as you talking about like how do we, we don't want to burst their bubble, like not everybody's going to like you. But the conversation I have started to have is I've been using food to have that conversation. So my daughter's a super picky eater. And so she will say things like, "Oh, Brussels sprouts are disgusting." And I'm like, "No, they're not. Mommy loves Brussels sprouts, but you don't like Brussels sprouts, and that's okay because we don't have to like the same thing. But that doesn't make them disgusting. It just means you don't like them, and you're allowed not to like them." So we have a lot of those conversations, and so hopefully we can translate that when she's a little bit older into it's
Yeah, you're
okay
like,
if
remember
someone,
those Brussels
yeah,
sprouts?
like it's okay if you're Brussels sprouts to somebody, like that's okay because
Yeah,
I love Brussels sprouts, and that's fine. So be
yeah.
somebody's
And
Brussels sprout. That's okay. It's all right.
everybody needs a Brussels sprout
That's
in their
right.
life.
That's right.
And I think you sort of nailed it. It's always age appropriate, and it's the way that you say it. And like you say, it will eventually translate into the
Yeah.
harder
Yeah.
conversations. But the important thing is what you're doing now, which I've always done with my kids. With boys, it's different. You've got the conversations. You're always going to have bodily functions included, and it's anytime somebody farts, it's the biggest, most hilarious thing ever. And then you get back to the conversation, but the point is you're having the conversation. It
Yeah.
really doesn't matter, kind of like you said, how you frame it. I love the food frame. But I think it's just important to be having the conversations, and don't be afraid to have them and be able to say, look, however I love the Brussels sprout. I am going to use that, by the way. My
Yeah.
kids will be like, what? They're going to be like, yeah, okay. They're in their 20s. They won't even understand. But I think but using the analogy of something else is
Yeah.
so brilliant. So where do you think, and I know we've got almost got to say goodbye, but where do you think for a girl and a woman,
Mm.
what age do you think that they sort of lose that innocence of, because
Mm.
I know even for a boy exactly where it is. Same with me. My last boy, he'd wear different socks every day and colorful and crazy, and he was out there. And then at some point it changed. And
Yeah.
I think I know the age. And why do you think it changes?
I so here's my thought process. I don't know that it's a particular age. I think it's a something or a someone. That's my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. I think that unfortunately, I think all of us can go back in time and sort of give you a recap of whether it's the person or the teacher or the year in school that really made a change for us, that really shook us and shook that confidence. And so sometimes I think that's one incident. Sometimes I think there was a particularly hard year in school. There was a particularly not so nice group of kids in that class, or whatever it was. But to me, it's not necessarily an age so much as an incident, a
Yeah.
someone or a something. And I think that the same thing happens when you get it back. So I think for me that there comes a time as an adult, at least this is my experience,
Yeah.
that all of a sudden you just understand your value. And sometimes that's a person, sometimes that's a few people, sometimes that's a role at a job, sometimes that's, an incident. I don't know if the incident's the right word. For me, the second I got asked to speak on stage one day and talk to a room full of women about vibe and connections, and I felt like $1,000,000, and that for me was game changing. That for me was like, yep, this is my value, and I'm worth it, and I'm doing a good job, and like
You're doing a rock
that
star
was
job.
that was game changing. And so for me, it's a thing. It's not necessarily an age. I think it's a thing.
But I love the fact how you're saying I took my power back. I'll tell you
Yeah.
a quick story too. And that is amazing because, like you said, you're in this room full of women that are looking to you like these hungry children, feed me the information that you have. And, you felt, and I've already told you what I thought that, where I know where you're going with all of this, but that's a whole nother podcast for another time. And they're looking to you, and it's not that they gave you your confidence back. I
No.
feel like a light went on for you, and you kind of went,
Yes.
yeah, you know what? I am pretty fabulous, right? And so, in between, in my opinion, and again, we're sharing our personal stories.
Yeah.
I feel that somewhere in between, believe it or not, grade 1, sometimes even SK, and grade 6, it's that young, like, because I
Yeah.
used to volunteer in all the kids' schools, and I would hear people commenting on what they're wearing. Oh, did you see little so and so? She's wearing, her grandmother's leggings or something, like just really mean comments or inappropriate, grocery store checkout comments. And it's not shocking to me because they don't have the experience or the brain capacity to be able to understand where that's coming from. But I hope with people like yourself and with myself, being these confidence creators, because you're a connector, but let's call a spade a spade. You're giving these people confidence to go through whatever they're going through, on a professional or a personal level. And I'm going to share what I did for myself, which was really extreme and it was kind of funny. So now I can laugh about it. But I felt like sometimes it wasn't even other people that were being mean to me.
Mm.
It was me being super hard on
Yes.
myself. And
Yes.
I'd walk by a mirror and I'd be like, oh my God, I've got to get to the gym. I got to,
Yeah.
oh, I got to whatever. And you know what I did? I took every long mirror out of the house. And the kids and my husband, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. It's just like, it's a self love project I'm doing for myself. And they're like, do you want to share? I was like, no, I do not want to share. You need a mirror, it's in the bathroom. And so that was me loving myself enough to say, you do not, like, I would never criticize somebody by the way
Yeah.
that they look.
Yeah.
Why was I doing it to myself?
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be a 3-month project. Oh my gosh, years we didn't have a full, and I'd be like trying to look at, like,
Yeah.
my butt, my legs. And I'm like, I really got to go get that full length mirror now, right? Anyways, that was many, many years ago. And now I've got mirrors with bling all over them and whatever. And I'm
I
like,
love that.
I'm okay. And, again, just to share, I've had a really bad back and neck injury. Haven't been able to work out, but I can still, like, there's always an excuse, but I can still power walk. I can
Yeah.
still make healthier choices.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if I'm forever trying to lose that last 10 pounds. That'll be my life story, right?
Yeah.
But I know I've gained maybe even 15 or 20 pounds. And it's like, I know what I need to do. And I'm going to do it when I have the time and whatever. But I really, really don't think that that's a game changer for anybody. Like you
Yeah.
said, nobody should see your outer shell because that's not who you are. Right? Everybody
Yeah.
gets older, everybody's body changes, everybody has health issues or time restraints or injuries. Doesn't freaking matter. But the more important thing is, how do you talk to yourself?
Absolutely.
What
Absolutely.
do you
And
say?
I have a goal. I'm horrible at talking to myself. I'm working on it, but I'm not
Yeah.
great at it. But one thing I've goaled myself, and this is funny, is that I think we learn a lot from the women in our lives, men as well, but I'm just going to use the women in my life as an example. And so I think that one of the stories I can share is I'm very lucky and still have my grandma around, and she's amazing. And I've been very close to her my whole life, and approaching 90 years old, and
God bless.
she will still comment like, oh, you know what, I lost 5 pounds this week or whatever. And I say to her all the time, Grandma, you're like 90 years old, you do not need to worry about 5 pounds, 10 pounds. Like, you're doing good. Like, do you feel good?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. And I have said to myself that my goal is, I just want to feel good. I don't want to spend the rest of my life focused on how much weight I want to lose next week. I want to feel good. And if I don't feel good, then I want to change something to do something better. But if I feel good, then I'm happy with that.
I love that. And I love your grandma. And you know what? I think it's their age too. Like you
Yeah.
said, I think I'm convinced it's all my mother's fault, right? Like
Yeah.
we always. And she, again, 88, she's, and she can lose 5 pounds like this. And she's like, I think she's 4'9" now. God bless her. She's like cursing up and down. I used to be 5'3", I think I'm shrinking. I'm like, yes. And, she'll go to the doctor. What's happening? Why am I shrinking? He's like, you are 88. She's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
But she'll lose that. And she's still very proud of how she looks. She'll put on her little skinny jeans and her Lululemon jacket and she's styling. But same to your point, it's like if you feel good, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I feel great. I look in the mirror and I'm
Amazing.
like, good morning, gorgeous. And I'm like,
I love it.
really?
I love it.
Yeah. And I'm like, isn't that kind of like conceited? She's like,
Nope.
absolutely not. I know.
No.
I have this role play thing that we joke around with each other. And so, yeah, just be happy with who you are. And like I said, my biggest thing is if you don't like something, work your ass off to change it because
Yeah.
there's stuff out there that you can. And I'm just going to say this last thing too. I don't want to not enjoy my life. I'm European. I like to eat. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. There is no halfway about it. I could probably lead a very miserable life and be 30 pounds lighter, but why? And so I don't overindulge. Sometimes I do.
Yeah.
And I just want to be okay with that. And
Yeah.
it's just funny. And again, we could go on forever that we still have this struggle within our minds sometimes
Yes.
where,
Yes.
you have this conversation with yourself. So I don't know, ladies, you're not alone, or gents, you're not alone when it comes to body image. That's for sure. And, we keep working at it and we keep talking about it.
Yes. Just learn to love yourself. You're worth it.
Well, it's the self-love and the self-belief and the confidence that we all, even rock stars, I don't know if I shared this with you or not. I'll share this quickly sort of in closing, unless you have anything to add, which I know you always do, and I love you, is when I was looking after Mick Jagger, what they do on their world tours, they bring up their studio plus a whole bedroom or room from their home, and they legitimately recreate it within their studio. So they have that safe space, whatever.
Yeah.
And he kept singing Angie over and over again. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm just like, I love that song. It's one of my favorite. And I'm convinced he meant Adrian, but really he was singing Angie. But anyways, it was an A name, okay? And so he, to me, pitch perfect, like beyond perfect. He was not happy with it. It was flawless in my mind.
Yeah.
But in his mind, it wasn't. So again, it goes back to the standard we hold for ourselves. What is your standard? And be realistic and love yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you
100%.
think? Same?
Yeah, no, 100%. Same. I think that we're way harder on ourselves than we need to be.
Agreed. And you know what? Maybe that will be next week's topic.
Yeah, I'm in. We could talk about that forever.
Oh, forever. Okay. Thank you, sweetheart. As always, it is
Wonderful
such
as
a
always.
pleasure to see you and to hear you. Big love, and we'll chat soon.
Love. Take care.